much before. In fact, not at all. I was able to serve the ball, but I hit him in the back 2 times with a serve ball.
Let me ask you something. When you were a kid, or maybe a young adult, sitting in that dark movie theater in the late 70s or early 80s, was there anyone cooler than Harrison Ford? The guy who flew the Millennium Falcon, who cracked the whip in a fedora, who stared down terrorists on Air Force One and said, "Get off my plane." Harrison Ford wasn't just a movie star. He was the movie star of our generation. But here's the part of his story most people don't know. He was a carpenter, working on film sets, just trying to pay his bills. And today, at 83 years old, he just received the SAG-AFTRA Life Achievement Award, the highest honor Hollywood actors can give one of their own. This is the full story of Harrison Ford, and trust me, it's better than any movie he's ever made. Born July 13, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois, Harrison Ford grew up in the suburbs, the son of 2 former actors who never quite made it big themselves. He was a Boy Scout. He worked at his high school radio station. He was, by his own admission, a little lost. He went to Ripon College in Wisconsin, and by his 3rd year he was failing classes and feeling completely alone. Then, almost by accident, he wandered into a theater. "I found the company of people putting on plays," he said in his 2026 acceptance speech. "Storytellers. People I once thought were misfits and geeks turned out to be my people. I found a calling." He moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. Here's the thing about Harrison Ford that our generation needs to hear right now. This man spent the better part of a decade being rejected by Hollywood. Studios didn't think he had it. Casting directors passed on him over and over, so he did what any man with a family to feed would do. He picked up a hammer. Harrison Ford became a professional carpenter. He was actually installing a door at the offices of director George Lucas when Lucas asked him to read some lines, just to help other actors audition for a new film. That film? Star Wars. Ford wasn't even supposed to be there. He was working on the building, and at 35 years old, an age when most actors had already given up, Harrison Ford became Han Solo. If you were in your teens or 20s in the late 70s and early 80s, this era was everything. Star Wars, 1977, Han Solo. The smuggler with a heart of gold who shot first and asked questions later. We all wanted to be him. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. Indiana Jones. A history professor by day, globe-trotting adventurer by also day. With a whip and a hat. And that theme music that still gives you chill. Between those 2 characters alone, Harrison Ford defined what a movie hero was supposed to look like for an entire generation. But here's what made him different from the other action stars of that era. He was funny. He was human. He made mistakes. He got scared. He got beat up. He wasn't a superhero. He was just a guy doing extraordinary things, and somehow that made us believe every single second of it. The blockbusters just kept coming. The Empire Strikes Back. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Blade Runner, 1982. Darker, more complex, showed he was a real actor. Return of the Jedi, 1983. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1984. Witness, 1985. Earned him his only Academy Award nomination. The Mosquito Coast, 1986. Working Girl, 1988. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, 1989. And yes, seeing him and Sean Connery together was everything. By the end of the 1980s, Harrison Ford wasn't just popular. He was the biggest movie star on the planet. You'd think after the 80s he'd slow down. But the 90s, he somehow got even bigger. He took on a brand new franchise. Jack Ryan, the CIA analyst, turned action hero from Tom Clancy's novel, Clear and Present Danger, 1994. Patriot Games, 1992. Both massive hits, both proof that Harrison Ford could carry any movie in any genre. Then came 2 of the most rewatchable films of the decade. The Fugitive, 1993. Tommy Lee Jones chasing him across the country. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Classic. Air Force One, 1997. The President of the United States taking on terrorists on his own plane. Get off my plane. You remember exactly where you were when you first heard that line?
Get off my plane.
By the late 90s, he was one of the highest-grossing actors in the history of Hollywood. Not bad for a guy who used to install doors for a living. Now here's the part of Harrison Ford's story that doesn't always make the highlight reel. But for those of us in our 50s and 60s, it might be the most relatable part of all. Harrison Ford never chased fame. He never loved the spotlight. He's famously private, notoriously grumpy with the press, and has spent decades just wanting to do good work and go home. He's a licensed pilot and has had some close calls in small planes over the years, including a crash landing on a golf course in 2015. The man flew himself out of danger. Typical. He's been married 3 times, most recently to actress Callista Flockhart, who you know from Ally McBeal. They've been together since 2002 and married since 2010. And here's something beautiful. At an age when most men his age are fully retired, Harrison Ford is busier than ever. This is the part that should genuinely impress you. At 80 years old, Harrison Ford strapped on the fedora one more time for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, 2023. He received an honorary Palme d'Or at Cannes, the most prestigious film festival in the world, for his lifetime of work. He joined the mega-popular Yellowstone universe in 1923 alongside Helen Mirren on Paramount+. 2 legends together. Fans loved every second of it. He joined the Apple TV Plus comedy drama Shrinking, playing a therapist dealing with Parkinson's disease, and earned a Golden Globe nomination and a SAG nomination at 82 years old. He played the Red Hulk in Captain America: Brave New World in 2025 because apparently Marvel came calling and Harrison Ford said yes. And in March 2026, he stood on stage at the SAG-AFTRA Awards to accept the Life Achievement Award, the highest honor actors give to one another. In his speech, he said something that hit different for anyone who's spent decades figuring out who they are. I found a calling, a life in storytelling, and an identity. What's your favorite Harrison Ford movie? Drop it in the comments. I want to know if it's Star Wars, Raiders, The Fugitive, or something else entirely. If this brought back some great memories, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories about the legends of our generation, and I'll see you in the next one.
Not truth.